and debunking certain misinformation that exists about your lifestyle.
Poly and lifestyles. You can be poly in lifestyles, and you can also be in lifestyles and not poly.
I wanted to go my own route, and so this was before I knew there was a community. I knew there was words like polyamory.
It doesn't matter if she put her best head game on you or whatever she did.
Sexual appetite slash libido, do they have to match?
You still want to go over to your side chick and get some too.
You're dealing with two women. That's personality. Isn't that a lot? I mean, I'm just asking some questions. Isn't there a lot to deal with?
You telling me you've never gone to one woman that day and then hitting the one at night? Never done that? Even if you didn't want to, you've done it.
Miss Polly, right? What is going on? What's up? Look, I'm gonna push you to the top, and I'm gonna go to the bottom. I'm gonna slide Andrea there so they can see your name. Boom. What's going on, Miss Polly? How are you?
I am good. I'm good tonight. How are you guys?
We're good.
Good. First and foremost, I definitely wanted to thank you for being a willing participant in sharing with us tonight, and maybe showing us some things that we didn't understand, as well as debunking certain misinformation that exists about your lifestyle. But remember, some of these folks are, you have a PhD in this thing, right? But some of these folks, they may be pre-K, a nursery. So, I'm going to give you enough time to kind of walk them through what it is. So, but remember, we regular folk here, right? So we want to learn about how to have as much fun as you can. You see, look, I already started with some preconceived thing, like y'all have much fun, right? So,
right.
So how I met Miss Polly was actually through, I think how everybody met anybody on YouTube is through a guy named E Black TV. Yep. Just like everybody knows the guy named Ernest. E Black is that guy named Ernest. All right, ask Ernest. And at first, he had mentioned her before because I had talked about this theory. E Black mentioned it. He was like, "Yo, you got to talk to my girl Miss Polly, man. She could definitely give you a lot of, insight." I finally listened. You get what I'm saying? That DVD that been sitting there for a minute and you finally decided to watch it? So I finally listened. I appreciate you for coming through. I want you to tell these folks what makes you a unique soul within this universe. And I'm going to give you the solo. Boom.
Okay. Well, I am Miss Polly. And what makes me a unique soul, I think, in this universe is just that I'm able to really think kind of outside the box when it comes to communicating and interacting with other people. And so with that gift, I use that to help others kind of understand maybe a different kind of lifestyle. And if that's what they choose to do. And poly is one of those things that came naturally to me, but for a lot of other people, it is particularly an option for them. And we got to kind of help everybody kind of see what it really is and kind of get rid of the people who have misconceptions about it. So I was able to share that with a lot of other people. And that's really my gift, is to kind of give people a different view and hopefully not change their mind, but let them look at it differently.
Okay. I like that. Let me not creep you out and leave you on the solo. So you said you talked about poly, right?
Yes.
So now, I'm gonna pull my cousin out, right? That's my cousin Ev. He's a real dude. He's known in New York, known in Atlanta. You get what I'm saying? But he's also can be a simple soul. So you use the term poly, right? In his vernacular, it might be, oh, I got 2 hoes and they know. Right? So, peace, cuz. So what I want you to know, I'd like you to tell them, explain what poly is. And if you need me to pull up any of your reference material, I got you.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that is the number one thing I had to transition to, from, making it more like common knowledge, because a lot of people who are doing it or misdoing it are the people who really aren't using big words, not using all the poly language that I'm going to show you some of that vocabulary.
My God.
Yo, what's going on, y'all?
How's the hustle, Big F?
Hey, you already know.
Bro. I wish you was in Houston, man. What up?
Man, I'm coolin'. Nice to meet you again, Miss Polly.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm gonna let y'all kick it and share what you got to share with us. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Listen, Vic. Hey, peace to Vic telling Miss Polly flip the phone to the side.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared.
Vic Spielberg. I don't know if he felt that was better for the version or he just wanted to kind of get a better look. I don't know. Vic is like that. Meanwhile, Hish is still in portrait. Hish is in portrait mode. You catching the game? Dirty, yo. Well, go ahead, man. I interrupted. I apologize. Go ahead, Miss Polly. Talk your talk.
Oh no, you're good. Well, yeah, I want to make it like basic. So yeah, poly is dating more than one person at the same time. And more of a more intimate setting, more for more emotional reasons. Like if you've been in something, like if you've heard of it, the lifestyles are kind of a little bit different. So poly and lifestyles, you can be poly in lifestyles, and you can also be in lifestyles and not poly. So poly is a little bit more emotionally connected, and in lifestyles is more sexual based. Not saying they have no connections, but they're more sexually based connections. So if you're dating more than one woman, that's just, and they don't know about each other, you're basically being poly, but you're being unethical. Basically, you're just not doing it the right way. And it causes a lot of problems. There were nobody wants to be cheated on or told, somebody down the streets got your man or all that. So you're just doing it incorrectly. Poly kind of gives you that space to be honest about what you want to do and share it with someone, and be able to pursue a relationship with someone else without it damaging the one you're in.
Right.
Yeah. That's the the base of everything. And then, like I said, the diagram, when people get into poly, one of the worst things I think happens is that they all say, "Oh, it seems so complex." But realistically, if I asked you to explain monogamy, it'd be the same difference. You'd have to explain the hidden rules of monogamy. What I mean by hidden rules is, like, one rule would be like, oh, you don't look at a girl when you have your girl with you when she walks by. Even though she might look real good, you're not supposed to look. That's an unwritten rule. That's not something that, everyone was told. It's just something not to do, passed on through people that who are monogamous. So that's something you wouldn't do, but you want to do it, maybe. And is it wrong to do that? You see, like, those kind of unwritten rules. But that, if you broke that down, it'd be like me explaining poly. So it's not really complex and big. It's just that when you ask me to explain it in detail, I have to give you the detail you're asking for. So it seems really like extreme. And that's where all the definitions come in, which I try not to use as much. Because people get lost in it. They get lost in definitions and trying to figure it out. And it's too much sometimes. So I try to bring it back down to a smaller level and just say, hey, you're with more than one person. And then we just work on those emotional skills that you deal with monogamous and poly at the same time. You're just going to, work those emotional things you go through, even if you're just one-on-one be with. Yeah.
Thank you. I got my blood cousin in the chat. He's always gonna be saying some bullshit. So yep. I think he likes you. I think my cousin likes you, because look what he put.
Wow. That jumper.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
How did you find the lifestyle?
Okay,
You know,
so
go ahead.
oh yeah, no, I'll be honest. I've always been kind of lovey with everyone. I know that sounds weird, but like I never felt like restricted with who I could care about. Even when I was dating, when I was younger, a teenager, like I had a boyfriend, and like I had always had space. Like it wasn't a big deal to go out, dance on other people. There was no, I have a lot of restriction. So it was like you know me. So if I go out here, I'm gonna dance with people. I'm gonna do this, but there were boundaries. I just didn't violate the boundaries. So if you don't not want me to kiss someone or hug someone, okay, but like I'll dance on them or whatever. If they call me, I might flirt a little bit. And that was just it, and then it just ended. So I had boundaries, and then I got older. I've had some weird situations. I'll be honest. I'll tell you about one. Just it's not even being big detail, but I've been with my husband, and we decided not to be together any longer, but we still stay in the same house, and we were cordial and everything. And then I ended up having another. I started dating another man, and I ended up being pregnant, and so we all kind of were in the house together because I had a child by my husband at the time, and then I was gonna have another child. So we all kind of lived together, and we were like that for like 2 or 3 years. We just kind of all co-parent, and we're all together. We had parties together, we paid bills together, and we just kind of really, it was just like a family. It was nothing really different. And I didn't see anything wrong. No one really had any issue as long as we had boundaries. We were fine. So that made it very possible in my mind. Okay, well, what? I would like that. That's really nice. And then I ended up, like I said, finding out more about poly and getting more information about it. And I said, oh, well, this is it. But I've been doing it this whole time, basically. So it was interesting. So that's how I kind of started. And then I started kind of getting more information about the more intricate pieces of it.
Okay. So one last question for you before we pass it to Hef, because his perspective is important. The red pill community, or some staunch members of it, would say, oh, you just must have been for the streets. Hey, you just had a Jezebel spirit. You had a vagina that runs rampant. You know what I mean? Loosey goosey coochie, whatever the hell you want to say, right? What do you say about that? Or that you had daddy issues, or this, that, the other?
Right. And yeah, that does come up. I think because even in those relationships, I was so, I don't know, say like very, very committed to them. And I made sure, like I said, like there was no, if they asked me an example of it, it's basically like I was just with that person. And I give that person everything, just like if I was one-on-one. So I really wasn't like all over. Even in poly, I'm real, actually, kind of like I'm not all over. I'm not like with 7 guys a week. I'm not like that. So even with me being poly, I still have, in my mind, okay, there's certain standards I still want to meet. I'm not going to sleep with every man I come in contact with. That's just not for me. But there's other people who are poly who every time they go on a date, they end up having sex with someone. It's just not me. So not everyone's the same. So you couldn't say that about me. So if they knew me. So a lot of times, the streams and stuff is nice because people get to know me and just see like I'm everyone like everyone else. I just have more than one partner. And even with that partner, I have boundaries, and I'm pretty good at making sure that they're satisfied, not sexually only, but just satisfied mentally, and they feel good in a safe place. But they wouldn't be with me, especially since they're men.
For a minute to come through and kick it with us.
Appreciate you for having me, man. This is one of my favorite subjects. I always have a lot of fun with it.
You know how to articulate it to a woman. With the rest of us, we get slapped for that, but it's somehow you able to land that plane in a way that we can't. We crashing birds, son.
I mean, for the Andreas of the world, you gotta ask them, what has monogamy ever done for you?
Okay.
Oh snap! But go ahead, do your thing, son. Cook for them. Let them know what makes you special in this universe. I'm gonna give you the solo real quick.
Well, for the most part, what sold me on it was the honesty, the ability to express yourself in a judgment-free zone, while everyone else is running around like a chicken with their head cut off. They're upset about this in a relationship. They trying to damage property. They're being just extremely ignorant and arrogant, and these things are becoming norms. And like, I was just looking at the outside world and I wasn't feeling it, and it didn't make sense to me. And I wanted to go my own route. And so this was before I knew there was a community. I knew there was words like polyamory. Everybody had heard of polygamy at some point. And even that didn't sit all the way right with me, because I was like, well, that sounds a little one-sided. I'm not about double standards or any of that. I want to enjoy my life in an unrestricted manner. And I assume, likewise, my partner would probably be into the same things. So I wanted that honesty and that openness and that ability to express yourself and not have to worry about your significant other falling apart, and just somebody who can practice emotional maturity with you, and somebody that you can grow and build with in a way that both of you can live a life that feels fulfilled.
My question to you is this, before we continue. The same question I asked Miss Polly. I asked her because certain people are going to think that the people that involve themselves in that lifestyle have some sort of issues.
Yeah.
So I want to give you an opportunity to debunk that statement or that thought concept process.
Well, for the majority of the laymen's, they are sold on the traditions, right? This is the way everybody did it before me. This is what I'm accustomed to. This is what I grew up with. So this is what's normal. This is what's regular. No matter how many of them experience that and see the contradictions, and they go through the mill with it, and it just never seems to work out, and it never makes sense. They never question it. They just keep moving throughout life feeling like it was the other person. Meanwhile, they have words in their vocabulary such as cheating. I feel like this wouldn't exist in a world where monogamy was real. You can see it glamorized all on social media. What's the expression? I cheat better, or whatever it is. It's ideas like that just go to show that you're not really about that life. Can monogamy be real for some people? Sure. I think a lot of people can get a lot of enjoyment from it. They can have everything that they desire within their monogamous relationship. But you are even seeing people in marriages now start to practice open marriages. And so it's starting to become a realization that relationships aren't a vacuum. It isn't a one-size-fits-all. And more often than not, if you're on a life journey with somebody, you're going to spend 10, 20, 30 years with somebody. You probably want to be a little adventurous. So for anybody who says like there's something wrong with the poly community because they're living in a way that you don't agree with or you don't understand, well, it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? Just like being rich ain't for everybody. Some people invest in small things, and some people invest in big things. And I feel like the poly community, polyamory, and to be specific, is a community that is geared towards being innovative and open-minded.
So Vic, you know what I mean? I'm sure he has an opinion. The thing is, you know, he's not going to admit to his polyamory, so he's going to talk to you. Let me stop. let me stop. But Vic, for you, talk to me. What questions do you have? Because you notice I'm cleverly skipping around Andrea, right? She's tonight's designated tire
And
kicker.
look, she got the right last name, Lynch. She
Right.
want to lynch the
She
whole
right,
chat.
right. She's a one-man lynch squad. Right. What questions do you have, Vic?
I got hella questions, but I'll just ask one. Maybe two. Sexual appetite / libido. Do they have to match? Is that a part of the vetting process? See who can fit inside of this ecosystem of yours?
So do you mean like if I have a high sexual appetite, they need to as well be as sexual as I am?
In your neighborhood, yeah.
So like you obviously want to be understanding, you want to have you know, you want, damn, I can't think of the word, but you want to be understanding. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect everybody to think the same at all times. That'll never work, even in a monogamous relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, people feel different things. People be operating on different wavelengths throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. You know, timing is everything, and strategy is everything, and knowing how to properly pursue your partner is going to be a major component of being happy in any relationship.
So what if one is on the ride and one is not? To my understanding, it is that can be, you know, one of the more without lack of better words, horniest times for a female. But you know a lot of times, you know, they'll do without or suffer through it. You know what I'm saying? So you got one over here getting it and the other one wanting it. You know what I'm saying? Is there like some level of jealousy created inside of that based on what's going on?
Well, jealousy is a natural human emotion. So that emotional maturity is going to play a big role in that sense. And like I said, that's just like any relationship. Your significant other could have to work, they could be on a business trip, they could be dealing with their kids, anything could be going on, and now you just at the house fiending and craving, you know, like, well, how do you handle that? So whatever the parameters are for your relationship, you operate within those. You don't have to complicate it. I think us as a species, we go out of our way to complicate things, and all it takes is a little bit of thought, a little bit of maturity, and you can work through all of these ideas.
Okay, last question.
I wanted to answer some of that. If you don't mind. Okay, well, you said sexual appetite. I'm gonna be like, this is me being honest, but like, I haven't never really met anyone who has the same libido thing, because mine's pretty high, even for a female. It's pretty high. So I've been in a relationship with someone for long term, and if I wasn't done or I wanted more or whatever, and they didn't want to, or they, you know, I didn't want to make them feel like they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, or whatever, it just was me, I would just, you know, end up hiding the fact that I was satisfying myself alone. But in the poly situation that, you know, later on, I don't have to do that. If it's something where I want something more, I have, you know, another partner that I can do that with. It's not, doesn't mean that the other person is not good. I think it's a lot of insecurity that gets tapped, and that's where causes people to get jealous. So I've seen people actually do things outside of the norm just because they want you to think they're as good as someone else, even though that's not what they normally do.
Yo, I just
For
did
one.
my best work in there.
But,
You going back
that's
to that?
fine. That's what, but it wouldn't matter. Why does it matter? Like, if you've been a man
I did a
and you've
finishing
had
move.
2 ladies in your life, you telling me you've never gone to one woman that day and then hitting the one at night? Never done that? Even if you didn't want to? You've done it.
What man didn't want to? What? I'm getting
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't matter if she put her best head game on you or whatever she did, you still want to go over to your side chick and get some too. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter. The performance isn't the issue. You just want to do something else. So
it's funny, like the reality of it is the human body can't take too much of anything on this planet. Oxygen, food, water, too much of anything will kill us. Like we are very resilient and very vulnerable in that way. It's crazy, and for whatever reason, we refuse to look at relationships in that way. Like, too much of anything can be a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So for the people who can be up under their significant other 24 hours a day, and it's just amazing, all of those minutes and hours and days are just amazing from moment to moment. That's dope. That's beautiful. But I think more of us, if we were to be honest with ourselves, we could use a little variety.
I got a question. Hef, my
Mhm.
brother.
Mhm.
What is this
We
saying?
woke up to sleeping Andrea.
Mhm.
The
What is this?
fire-breathing dragon.
The question is, you just want more than one woman. You just a little greedy.
Is that the case?
I'm just asking my question, my brother. I'm asking you.
Well, so
Wait, I got to stop you real quick, just to give some clarification. When you use the term greed or greedy, what you're stating is the person wants more than they actually need.
Yes.
Right. But what if his stomach capacity is larger than yours? You might need a little 4 to 6 ounce steak. He may need a 20-ounce ribeye, right? So what you consider greed is one thing. He may have your greed is always dependent on your need. Once you want more than you need, that becomes greed. But what if he needs a lot more? I'm just saying.
I'm asking
Go
him.
ahead. No, I'm gonna let him. I know. I just wanted to, throw my little shot in there. We got an all-star panel. I wanted to say some shit on too. Yeah.
So to simplify that, let's take for instance when I'm in a relationship and there is no other woman that's interested in being around me and my current partner. That puts us in a almost monogamous dynamic because it's just me and her. Does that imply that I'm no longer polyamorous? I still have the capacity to date other people and be around other people, but I'm not like fiending and yearning. I'm not itching to have another woman in my life. It's just a part of who I am. I saw Kareen in the chat, Kareen in the chat say it sounds like it's all about sex, and obviously the sex is a plus. That's the icing on top. But more realistically, that enjoyment that I get from being around other people, women in specific, is the biggest component of it for me. When I'm up under my girl all day, every day, like, no matter how infatuated with them I am, I still crave that energy, that conversation, those ideas from outside influences. This is why we have a lot of the different forms of entertainment that we have. You have your video games, you have TV, you have the club, you have the bar. Like, we have all of these places where we can go for different stimuli, and relationships aren't any different than that. My ability to love someone else doesn't take away from the love that I have for you.
What about all them personality? Like you're dealing with two women. That's personalities. Isn't that a lot? I mean, I'm just asking some questions. Isn't that a lot to deal with? She might be, I don't know, upset today, and then the other one has personality. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. Just ask me how you deal with that.
I was going to tell you, like, you should, everybody who does poly, just giving out good tips and advice. You should have a max number that you're able to, deal with. And everyone's number is not the same. I have a high number, but I choose not to go that high. I know a max that I can hit that's like, oh God, that's a lot. It doesn't have to be all sexual interactions. It could just be, conversations and, intellectual things going on.
You said, you learned your max. How did you learn your max? Was it just one day when it was like,
it's like the bench?
This hurts.
No, I did. I did.
You gotta know what's too much before you know what's enough.
I did the max. So, I was dating and I decided to like full on just, hey, I didn't have a number at that time to, date, and I was just dating a lot of people. There's a lot of people talking to me. I can like, be in I'm dating situations, talking to different people, getting to know them. I can do 10, but that's a lot. It's a big number. But when I get to like more intimate, I cut it down to about 8. 8 is the max. And that's with people who are like in state, out of state. There's got to be a good combination. It has to be like 3 outside of the state, and I don't have a lot of contact with. They don't need a lot of contact from me. They may be like truck drivers are one example. They, travel lots. So they need a lot more communication on the phone. But then whoever you're with, you kind of, what kind of guy you're looking into, that will match you and where you're coming from. If you're a person that, a guy who needs a lot of attention, probably not going to be good in that situation. But yeah, I maxed out probably 8. I will not do 8. I think that's too much, but I could juggle it for a while. But I think 3 is a good number to just be fine. 3 is really good for me. But
I agree. 3.
Hang on one second.
I got questions.
Because I had a backup question, and it kind of plays into what you're saying now, because you said 10, and then you said 10 was too much. 8 is kind of like the limit, but 3 is kind of like, almost like your fighting weight. So what I would like to know is, no matter how happy or harmonious you all are in your relationships, how does it play out when children are involved? When someone becomes pregnant, or someone already has a child, or something of that nature? How does that work?
You should definitely discuss that ahead of time. For me, I really don't want any children. So the partners I usually date are people who already have children and maybe don't want to have children. So this is like the process. What do you want? What do you need? What can you give? And you have to know those so that you know who to date. That doesn't matter if you're monogamous or not. You need to know that. So you know what you can give and what you can't give, what you want and what you don't want. And when you know that, it's a lot easier to find partners. So it's a lot easier for me to manage partners that I know what they can give me, what I can give them, and what's going to satisfy them at this degree. So when it comes to that, sexually, I'll say, as you saw our little list, like fluid bonding, things like that. Who's going to be wearing protection? Those are conversations we have prior to, or you should have prior to, so that you know where you are in that situation. So if some people don't want children right now, so you probably shouldn't have sex with them without, protection, birth control. You just kind of go through that process of what you're going to do when you're in that situation. You talk about it beforehand. Monogamous people usually don't do that. It just happens. It happens. But you should prepare for what's going to happen. It could happen.
What you say, Hef?
Man, my daughter's 15 now, and I think she's been way more confused by the monogamous relationship.
Man, you look like you're 16. Damn it. You young, pretty face. Damn, I had to go dip myself in some oil of Olay. God damn it. Go ahead, man. Pretty mother.
baby girl's way more confused by the monogamous relationship she's been raised around. Primarily because I'm so heavy on the emotional maturity thing, and having conversations, being objective, these are very important components. So she just got to the point to where she's dating and stuff now, and she asked me could she have a boyfriend and stuff, and I was like, you ain't no idiot, are you? You ain't, you got some sound judgment, right? She was like, yeah, dad, and so she told me the other day, she was like, she already broke up with him, it wasn't for her or whatever. And I was like, so you was only dating one guy? And she was like, what, like, am I supposed to be like you or something? I was like,
so she is aware of your dynamics of your relationship.
Yeah, and I was like, that's interesting that she understands me, she understands my lifestyle, and she's smart enough to discern for herself, like, I don't necessarily want to try that right now. And I thought that was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? She's independently thinking on her own. So one thing that I can notice about kids is their understanding is going to be as well as the adults around them understanding. It's the same when you got a baby and they hurt themselves and you panic, they panic.
Right.
As long as you are practicing a healthy lifestyle, they're going to have a healthy interpretation of it.
So you can spend time with 3 women at a time. I'm just asking some questions now.
I mean, I have for the majority of my adult life.
Say for instance, I'm not putting nothing on you, and I know people sensitive about their children, so please understand what I'm saying. If your daughter at some point chooses to pursue the lifestyle, would that make you feel away?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
I think these are always loaded questions where people try to put you in position to feel uncomfortable about something you're saying or doing. And my interpretation is this: I don't never want my daughter to be mistreated or disrespected. That's bottom line. So if that's not on the table, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing about it,
Okay, back to my question. So you can spend time with 3 different women at the same time and give them all your time, need, and all that, and they feel like they're gonna be secure in this relationship. You could do that.
Well, I can't speak for them, but I definitely put forth a valiant effort. I've maintained 3 to 4 women for years on end.
And the other thing is, like you say, I think people believe that time equals how much you care about someone. And it is not necessarily true, because there's some men out here who barely see their wives because they have so much work to do, and they do a lot of work. It doesn't mean they love their wife less.
Right.
Like there's people, like I said, truck drivers. I'm not gonna lie, I like truck drivers because a lot of them don't have a lot of time, but it's not a bad or a good thing. It's because I also know that I'm busy, and I know that when I get busy, I can't, a person who needs a lot of needs, I can't attend to. But a person who's busy, who has other things to do, they're also going to be busy and have things to do. And when we come together, it's just going to be better. It's not going to take away from anything. They're just going to enjoy the time I have with you more.
And what about when the woman get jealous, Hef?
That's where that emotional maturity comes in. That I have an ability to get jealous as well, but I've gotten very well at practicing handling the way I interpret these things. For the most part, I'm able to enjoy and feel fulfilled off of my girl enjoying herself in whatever capacity that is. Whether she's engaged in her favorite activity or she's experiencing sexual acts with other people. If I care about you, then I like to see you happy. There's no situation where you're happy and I'm upset about the happiness that you're experiencing.
That's a good thing, like you said, because people say, like, who would be upset that their partner's happy? If someone else gives your partner happiness, why would you be upset about that? That seems a little strange. Why would you be upset that your partner is having a good time and enjoying themselves? Even if it's not with me, I want you to be happy.
Right.
That's
and if you're not
interesting.
at that point, you know, like I want you to be happy. If it's not with me that day, if you are into cars and you and someone else go out and you enjoy doing something in the cars and you have the best time, why am I upset because you did that without me? I don't enjoy it like you do. It's not hurting me that you're enjoying it with someone else. It's just the fact that I think that you're having a different experience with someone else and that you may like that more than me. And that's not where you should be.
So Ms. Polly, I gotta kind of push back for the regular folks that may not think at that level of resonance in you, right? If you recognize that your partner needs a certain thing to be or feel fulfilled within themselves, within a physical dynamic, then you should be comfortable enough to allow them their way off the farm to find that pleasure. The thing is, in relationships, when you latch on to someone that you love, you're accepting them because of what they've done and the heartstrings they're able to, pluck within you. But what you also do is inherently accept the things that you would have liked in a mate, but they don't have. So love in itself, when you accept someone, is not just about wanting to please them or them pleasing you. It's about both of you also sacrificing the other things that you may have wanted just to have that love that resonates within you in a certain way, right? So some would say, well, yes, you would want your partner to be happy, but by the same token, if they understand you and they understand what you're able to bring to the table, part of love is sacrifice. So what would you say to that?
I do believe that you can love someone with even the things they don't give you. And there's nothing wrong with that. But why, if someone else is able to do that, is it a problem? Like that part, and like you said, you're supposed to accept them for who they are, even with the wrongs and what they can't bring. And that's okay. But if someone else is there and they can do those things, you stopping them or making them change who they are. Some people lose themselves. And I will be real with you. One of the biggest things I see when it comes to relationships, especially marriages, is that a lot of people shut down parts of themselves because there's rules and dynamics around that they can't be or express any longer. Some men who are very charming and like to talk to other people a lot. Well, if you're in a situation where you're monogamous, you're not supposed to do that. So now you're taking away who you are for someone else's happiness, who you are on a regular, and now you're hiding who you naturally are. Why is that okay for you to do that to someone? And even if you did do that and they're okay with it, you're still making that sacrifice. But does it make you happy that someone's suffering just because it makes you feel that you're wanted? Because that doesn't hurt anyone to let them have conversations. Let them, enjoy time with other people. That doesn't really necessarily hurt you. It just makes you fearful that they may leave. A lot of jealousy that I believe stems from the fact that you're afraid that someone's going to leave. Someone's better than you, or someone's going to do something to make that person leave you. And the thought of that is what triggers you to be like, oh, this is crazy. You can't do that. You can't talk to them. You can't go here, because the thought of losing them, you can't function with that. So what you do is you just tell them they can't do this, that, and that. And that bothers me, and that bothers me. But the real fact is that you are dealing with stuff that's making you feel insecure about yourself and your relationship that you have. So then you have to evaluate that situation. Like, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that you're not good enough, even though they chose you? They chose you because they wanted you, but yet you're saying you're not good enough.
Even though they chose you. Damn, that's a thought. Even though they already chose you.
They chose you. And even if someone else chooses them, then we're all winning. You already won the prize. It's me. So what are you trying to battle about? We won. We're all winning. Enjoy it.
What about the people's families coming at them because they're in a poly relationship? Because some people's families don't have a lot of say.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of these struggles you guys talk about. It's happening to me currently in general. I try to be nice to my partners because they like to be. One of them likes to be very private, and the other one's like semi-private. But his family didn't know for a while, and I told I expressed that I felt hidden, and that's not something I want to do. And even though he wasn't purposely hiding me because he's not happy with me, because I don't hold my mouth and say, hey, you know, this is not what it is. Like if someone called me, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm calling my other boyfriend or my other partner is calling. And I think that worried him at first when we first started dating, that someone would judge him or they would think it was weird and all that. And men had that problem with the kind of way I poly. They have that problem. And women, like they say the same thing, you know, you're good enough. Why does he need more than one? And it's like, this, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, these people aren't living your life. Even though you love your cousin, your aunt, and all them, they're not the ones who are there every day. It's the people who are going to be your partner, your long-term partners. So at the end of the day, are they going to be the ones holding your hand when you don't have gas money? No. Or it's going to be that person. So at the end of the day, it doesn't, to me, think that their input should matter to that degree. And if they don't want to accept that someone loves you, then that's just an issue that they're having, not you.
What about on the woman? If I mean, I know you have a daughter, but what about if the person have young children? Are you okay with that?
I've been in those scenarios where there were young children around, and you know, like I said, the kids' understanding will be just as you know, concrete as your understanding, depending on how you're going about handling things. I think in most situations, kids benefit and have a certain amount of value that comes from having positive influences and energies around. If all the people involved in this situation are good people, genuinely good people, then the kids' experiences will be personified times however many people are involved.
Okay. What about if your girl wants to go to Vegas with her girls and she meets somebody?
Well, my lifestyle is about freedom.
You okay with that?
If my lifestyle is about freedom, I'm not boring.
Did she have to call you first? Okay, what's the rule? Did she call you first? Should have called you first and let you know, I met somebody. Hey, I'm
no adult has to ask me for permission. If I'm in a scenario where my partner is feeling like she wants something different, she doesn't want to be around anymore, even if that bothers me, even if I feel like, you know, there's a part of me that's going to be leaving or whatever the case, you know, that comes with life, that comes with the territory. I've always been a firm believer in never giving away something that you can't afford to lose, and love and loss go hand in hand.
Okay.
Love and loss
go hand
in hand.
That's something. That's profound. Love and loss go hand in hand. But respond on that. Love and loss go hand in hand. I like that.
Me?
Lehef. Love and loss go hand in hand.
Well, you've loved before and you've lost before.
Yes.
So the thing that probably made that hard for you to overcome was the fact that you weren't prepared mentally for that type of loss. I go into every situation and dynamic knowing that nothing lasts forever, you know, whether it comes in the form of death, it comes in the form of people changing their mind. This is a reality that we live with, you know, and if you are going to put yourself out there, then you have to be okay with some form of rejection. And so, you know, some change happening and coming about, it can be expected, no matter how much you don't want that to be the case. And that happens in monogamous and poly relationships. A lot of people wake up single.
You know, he said, well, I said big hef sounds old, mature and wise. This kind of dude is rare. Wish more people would listen to the wise before the young and horned. Interesting. So you just got some props. You know what I mean? Real talk.
Already.
For coming on, we understand. We thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. You know, I love you, F.
Of course. And
how's the hustle,
man? You know, I had to tap in. It's been a while, so y'all gonna be seeing more of me. I'm just trying to get situated out here in these LA streets. before
Okay.
I'm back in full effect.
West
My
West.
God, man. Welcome back.
For sure. All right, Vic. All right, Chef. All right,
What's
Drill.
up, my
It's
dude?
nice
You
to meet
already
you
know.
again, Miss Polly. I look forward to seeing you again. You know, we can run through these YouTube streets.
Yes.
Waving our Polly flag.
That's right. You know, they're trying to
Alright,
change that flag too. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go
yeah.
school. He said he's not gay. Just saying.
Yeah, make sure
We
y'all go to
cultured,
that
fool.
Big Hef page, man. Hit that like and subscribe. You know, watch my content. Check me out.
Yes.
My guy, man, hold it down, son. You know you always welcome. You know the key is under the rock in front of the door by the bush.
For sure. Yeah. All right,
All
y'all.
right.
Thank you. Bye bye.